So, we got a real situation here, don't we?
Yes, sir.
A few radicals make a little noise, and every fat-ass sob sister downtown suddenly wants to hand them a cop's head on a plate.
There are a lot of people who feel the shooting wasn't justified, Chief.
What people?
Me, for one.
I don't think the chief was expecting that. Hollander says, I'll need immunity for Donnie Potts and Ralph Ruskin in order to make the case for murder.
Murder. In another age, he would have ridden back into town, gotten himself a shave, a haircut, a bath, and a whore.
It's a regrettable situation, Chief.
Why did we crush our gunfighters?
Because the vast majority of them were and are very bad people. That's why. Clay Allison was a quick-draw guy who called himself a shootist. He also wasn't too particular about who he shooted. He was not a nice man, so when he fell off a wagon and broke his neck, it wasn't a big loss to the world of grace and nobility. And if a guy like Larusso gets put away for life, well, shucks, an equal loss. Remember what I said about the chief being a throwback to a time that only existed on film?
Late at night, a cloudless sky, this cowboy sits alone, wondering if a man like me should bother heading home. I'd miss my wife, but that cowboy life is calling me, my friend. I ache to hear the doggies sing again.
Dude, most cowboys of the frontier west would gladly trade places with you. It was not an enjoyable life. That's why they tended to go a little nuts when they got to the town at the end of the trail and got paid.
The only law was a lightning draw of the 6 guns that I wore.
Yeah, again, the quick draw bit was so overblown in movies and on TV, it's no wonder guys like him existed. Quick question, who's the most famous gunfighter in the Old West? If you said Wyatt Earp, you're correct. Next question, how many stand-up gunfights did he fight? If you answered 1, give yourself a gold star. Incidentally, one review had a problem with this song because he's riding a horse through the streets of Los Angeles and nobody seems surprised. This writer actually asked if this is supposed to be real or just a fantasy in his head. He began the song on an acoustic guitar in his office and there was no indication that he left the room. What do you think? There again, too many reviewers laid down ground rules for this series that I would bet they have never done for anything else they ever reviewed. Having said that, the way he has that horse in a trot instead of a walk, not only is it a little bit hazardous to the kids in the street in his little fantasy, but imaginary Ronnie Cox is going to need to put some ice on his hindquarters by the time we're done filming this. At the station, Captain Hollander has just told detectives Larusso and Potts that they're off the street and all their cases are being given to someone else.
But the Damiano by, Captain. We've been setting that up for weeks.
We'll set it up again with somebody else.
No. It's already going down. Tomorrow night, 10 o'clock, it's going down.
No.
Can't yank us when we're this close.
I just did.
He also wants to talk to Detective Potts in private, and he makes a show of ensuring that Larusso knows it. He lays it out, you testify, and you get total immunity, guaranteed.
But I still gotta live with those guys out there, Captain. Do you know what's gonna happen to me if I do what you say?
Yeah, and I know what's gonna happen to you if you don't.
No, I don't think he does know what'll happen to Donnie if he does this. Plus, him nailing Donnie is contingent on him nailing Larusso, which he is still a long way from doing. But Hollander is very good at manipulating people and using scare tactics, as we saw with Officer Quinn. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not justifying what Larusso did. Far from it, a story about a vicious cop straight up murdering an unarmed young black man is even more relevant today than it was in 1990. But as the expression goes, 2 rights do not make a left. Hollander isn't breaking the rules, but he's bending them into a pretzel. I know he's convinced himself it's all for the noble purpose of bringing a cold-blooded murderer to justice. It's the same logic Patty Spence used when she sold her baby. It's for the greater good.
You've done right by your party, Louise.
My party's done right by me, Barney.
I'm about to put something on the table that you might come to hate me for.
Really?
A number of us have been looking at you very seriously as a candidate for the United States Senate.
I'm sure she tells herself the same thing about a lot of things. Before we know it, we have a nice pop culture reference. We're watching mud wrestling. Vince Larusso's girlfriend is one of the wrestlers.
You gave him a little extra out there tonight, didn't you?
Oh, come on, Vincent, will
No,
ya?
come on. I mean, just a little.
I do what all the other girls do, honey. It's the job.
How much would a guy have to pay for you to bring him back here?
Please don't do this, Vincent.
Come on.
Can't you just be nice to me?
What do you want, a corsage?
No. I just want you to like me a little, that's all.
My mistake. One of the wrestlers is a young lady that he likes to push around and dominate.
God, I hate love. I hate love. All it does is bring you down.
By the time the 2000s came along, we were calling it battered woman syndrome. A brutal man is victimizing a woman and she keeps going back to him. He promises to change and she believes him again and again. People watch and ask why.
God, I hate myself. I hate myself.
She knows why, and there it is. She doesn't feel like she's worth anything, so this is what she deserves. She says, I hate love, but that thing she hates isn't love. As she stares at herself in the mirror, finishing the song and despising herself, you can feel it. You're right there with her, and you wish you could explain it to her, except she's not real. It takes you a moment to remember that. It's time for the mayor to meet the professional media manipulators who are going to make her into a senator.
How do you do, Your Honor?
Just fine, thanks. Barney Rhodes tells me that you can help me get elected to the United States Senate.
Well, we'd like to try if you're willing to go along with what we have to say.
You have to appreciate that the guys who are going to make her into a basic media clone are identical twins. There's a lot of that kind of gentle visual reinforcement all through the show. These guys have something to tell the mayor, and it's about her physical appearance. She says, I know what I look like. I'm not going to be upset. Say what you have to say.
We ran more than a dozen focus groups, Your Honor. Each of them viewed footage of your press conferences, your speeches, as well as your more informal public appearances.
What was their reaction?
That you were the ugliest woman they ever saw.
She wasn't expecting people to actually use the word ugly. I'm not sure what she expected in its place, and she's a little deflated.
Plug ugly, too ugly to live, ugly enough to scare horses and children, and ugly enough to stop trains.
So I guess the question is, am I too ugly to be elected senator?
Mayor, in our opinion, right now you are.
Well, she wanted direct. They leave her the number of an excellent and discreet plastic surgeon. Down on the street, Rose is trying to help Gaines understand the street, starting with your basic domestic disturbance.
Coming to the kitchen right now.
Get him out of my face!
You see what I'm talking about? The disrespect.
Maybe if you spent a little more time with me than getting drunk every night with your friends, everything would be over.
Please let Officer Rhodes just take your husband in the kitchen. You and I are gonna sit down and have a nice little talk.
Hey, what y'all gonna talk about?
Sir, you just stay in the kitchen with Officer Rhodes. I'll take care of your wife
What
right
you mean
here.
take care of? This is my house.
Yeah, I know it's your house.
Gaines needs to stop answering this guy and let Rose handle him.
Hey, you think that's funny?
No, I don't.
Maybe this gentleman wants to hear my side of the story.
That's right, sweetheart. That's right. That's
Sweetheart,
right.
she
That's what I'm gonna do.
Break it down, sweetheart. That gun! You drop it now! She hit your sweetheart.
Never mind, Gaines has his own way of handling it. Let the dude grab his gun. Rose manages to talk him down and says, you hand us that gun right now and we'll walk away and forget this ever happened. As the two officers move to leave, this couple sings a wrenching blues song to each other about what a horrible, destructive, toxic thing jealousy is. That was what started the whole thing in the first place. He thought she was coming on to another man. She was dancing with the guy. The most remarkable part, through the whole song, they told us all that and never once used the word jealous or any of its derivatives. Gaines has a good heart. He just needs to learn what to do with it.
Franklin, tell me the truth. Am I too stupid to be a cop?
No, man. You're just stupid enough.
That's another way to put it, yeah. Let me be clear. Given the chance, I'll be out there in the streets marching in protest of all the things that have been happening in this country the past few years. I favor shifting funds from pure enforcement into things like treatment, counseling, mental health training, and hiring of more such professionals. I support all that stuff. I also have more admiration than I can ever express for anyone who puts that uniform on for the right reasons. Cut to an Italian restaurant where Vince Larusso has decided his sting operation is going down after all.
I don't tell the IRS or you or anybody where my money comes from.
10 keys, huh?
Oh, Vincent.
Vincent, thought your name was Angelo.
Yeah, you must have me mixed up with somebody else.
Detective, tell your friends to go home.
I don't have the words. It's gotten personal. It doesn't matter who goes free as long as he can assert his authority over Vincent.
That guy who's gonna sell me 10 kilos of cocaine. That's a major felony. You let him go.
When I say something, I mean it.
Get the hell out of my face, John. You know how long I've been working on this case?
I know exactly how long.
And he's fine letting the guy go if it means punishing you for disobeying him. Larusso is a dirtbag, but I'm having a hard time being sympathetic to the captain, too. Elsewhere, Donnie Potts has company.
Your name keeps coming up. Last few days around the chief's office, it's been starting to look like the guy who stands between Larusso and what he's got coming is Officer Donnie Potts.
Yes, now he's pushing Donnie to change his story and testify against Larusso. Donnie is standing his ground.
Look, I know a lot of people are making this out to be a whole racial thing.
Was it?
Vincent Larusso is a lot of things. Racist isn't one of them.
I think that's the only good thing I've heard anybody say about him so far. Donnie's concern is that everybody wants this to be a racial thing, white cop and black victim. He knows it's not, but nobody is going to believe it. Osborne says, forget everybody else and what they want. You're the one who has to live with yourself if you don't tell the truth. Vondie Curtis Hall is almost scary in this scene. To tell the truth, I'm not sure Ernie Hudson could have pulled it off. Ernie Hudson's face is just too happy. Even when he's scowling, he looks like he's having the time of his life.
Ray.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ray, I'm going to ask you a question, and I expect you to be entirely candid in your reply. How would you assess my appearance?
Which appearance, Your Honor? The Knights of Columbus dinner?
No, my actual physical appearance.
This is why Ray doesn't play poker with the gang after work. He tries to dance around it, but she gets the message. She gives him the doctor's number and says, make me an appointment. By the time she gets there, she's got a shopping list of facial features and body parts. The doctor says we can start first thing in the morning, but she's afraid it won't work. This is one of the more fun songs.
Nip and tuck, lipo suck, nose job, boob job. Bigger is better when it's underneath your sweater. Rose feet from your eyes, cellulite from your thighs.
You know the funniest thing about that? Guys have been going bonkers over Marilyn Monroe for 50 years. This guy would insist she needs tons of work done.
So confidence. Bigger is better when it's underneath your sweater. Your lips are wheeling flakes up the mile on TV.
all I can say to that is, oh!
Oh yeah, beauty is my stock and trade. We're going for perfection. Oh, I'll make you perfect in every way. Talking about perfection.
Okay, doctor, don't just stand there. Show us the result. He's not going to do it until next episode. She needs a week to heal. I mean, come on. Vince is back at the club where his girlfriend wrestles.
Well, if you're holding, I'm looking.
Why don't you just drink your drink and check out the bras?
Larusso! Oh yeah, take it right on top. Here we go. Take him on top. Oh,
I don't have to check out the one with the legs up in the air. I'm married to her.
Our man says, you're a lucky man. I'd love to spend some time with her.
I tell you what, Jimmy boy. If you give me a good price on an ounce, after she's done with work, she's all yours. You're gonna go for that. She's a coach, look, man. You get her high, she'll do whatever you want.
If I were to speak my mind right now, not only would I get demonetized, I'd probably get a lightning bolt up my where I wasn't looking. He's still trying to nail that drug dealer, and he doesn't care how he does it. If it means putting his innocent girlfriend in danger from a drug dealer, so be it.
Nikki, I'd like you to meet Jimmy. He's a good friend. Jimmy, my wife. Nasty Nikki. You drove him crazy in there tonight, honey.
I'm glad he enjoyed himself.
He wants a party with you, baby.
What do you want?
I want you to do it. For me.
Let's go.
Bear in mind, he hasn't told her what's really going down here. As quick as Jimmy gives him the drugs, he draws his pistol and says, you're under arrest.
Yeah, right.
Here's what happens now. You're gonna hand over that gun, I'm gonna drive out of here. And we're gonna pretend none of this ever happened.
No, that's not what happens.
And this chick is dead.
Fine.
I'll kill her.
Go ahead and kill her.
Just when you thought he couldn't stoop any lower. Thing is, he's not supposed to be doing this stuff, so there's a good chance that arrest won't stick. He doesn't think about things like that before he uses people.
What's that?
A statement saying that I witnessed the murder of Tyrone Weeks.
He wants immunity in writing before he'll sign it, but he won't get it. We've seen what a skilled manipulator the captain is, and this time is no exception.
All right, on your feet. Let's go.
This is one of the few songs that really doesn't fit all that well. Vince brings his collar in, but suddenly we have a song called Garbage In, Garbage Out about the general goings-on of the police station on an average day. It's the only song so far that feels like padding. The songs so far have either moved the story along, told us something about a character or characters, or both. This one does neither. It's rare to have to say this about one of these songs, but you can cut it out and not miss a thing. It's really not even a good setup for this.
You're under arrest. You have the right to remain silent. If you give up the right to remain silent, anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to speak with an attorney, and to have the attorney present during questioning.
He told Donnie, if I go down, I'm taking you with me. But he didn't mean try to say he was an accomplice or something like that. That's way too tame for this guy. By now, regular viewers were fully invested in the Vince Larusso story. Even after it was announced that the series had been canceled, we had to know the outcome of that. I hope that's not a spoiler of some kind. There are several other stories going on, but they haven't really gotten off the ground yet. It's understandable. How can dealing with a white guy who likes Motown too much compete with murder?